In Part 3, we visit the Te Puia Geothermal Park south of the town of Rotorua, and we spend a night in a Maori-run hostel near the town of Murupara and play some fun games with our host in the Kohutapu Lodge. We start our day with a visit to the Te Puia Geothermal Park to see the geysers and the hot bubbling mud pools. They also have a kiwi sanctuary here, but no photography is allowed of the kiwis. You can see our group here waiting for our guide Snowy to bring us our entrance ticket. Here is Ignacio making his way into the park. This was our first distant view of the geothermal area with the geysers. We'll get a closer look soon. There was also this mud mound spewing steam. Our first stop was the kiwi viewing area. They have a stuffed kiwi for display, and this was the only kiwi I could video, as videography inside the actual kiwi viewing area is prohibited. At the start of the tour, there is this large bubbling mud pool area. The intensity of the hot gases bubbling up was enough to send large globs of mud, a foot or more, into the air, as you can see here. In the distance, we could see the active geysers in action. We had had significant rain over the last few days, and the water had percolated down to get heated by the magma chamber and get shot back up in the form of these active geysers. There is a display board nearby showing what is happening underground and to explain the rainwater to geyser cycle. Here, you can see the cauliflower-looking deposits of calcium that are brought up by the superheated water. Heat is supplied courtesy of the Rotorua caldera. Over hundreds of thousands of years, these dissolved minerals have had significant buildup on the surface of this mound, as you can see here. Here is another bubbling mud pool close to the main geyser area. This is the Pohutu geyser, the main geyser in this area. According to our guide, today was the most active geyser activity for several days. Due to the tremendous amount of rainfall we had had over the last few days, the water had percolated down close to the magma chamber and was being violently ejected, creating spectacular visuals. Other than the geysers, a lot of additional hot water gets forced up and runs off the side of this mount, adding more and more calcium deposits every day. Here is the Pohutu geyser from a reverse angle. So now you know what the backside of a geyser looks like. This is a closer look at the base of the Pohutu geyser. Hot water explosions were occurring continuously, sending boiling hot streams of water high into the air. This is a steam vent that indicates a high sulfur content, as you can see from the yellowish deposits around the vent hole. We got a few more minutes of spectacular, violent geysering action, but shortly thereafter, all the percolated rainwater had been used up and the geysers stopped. Here is another smaller geyser. This one would erupt about every 4 to 5 minutes and then die down. It was located near the sulfur steam vents. We visited a few more steam vents around this area. We were guided through the rest of the facility to show other attractions that we could walk through and see at our leisure. This is a workshop where Maori apprentices come to learn the art of wood carving. According to our guide, it takes about 2 to 3 years to master the skills needed to make these intricate wood-carved panels seen in the background. Here is a piece one of the apprentices was actively working on. After the geothermal park, we made our way to the town of Murupara and our next overnight stop at the Kohutapu Lodge. We met up with a Maori guide, Kelly, who took us to see some ancient Maori rock carvings. Here you can see Kelly giving us a history of the area and some background information on the carvings.
Now, so this is the largest man-made forest in the southern hemisphere. If not, it might be the world. Every tree is hand planted, and even this land here was in the days way back. It was the main thoroughfare for our tribes.
Kelly led us through the forest to the area of the rock carvings, which have been carbon dated to have been carved around 1040 AD by the original Maori that initially arrived in this area.
Starting from big canoes all the way to smaller canoes. Now the reason I know it's from 1040 AD was the government. They had someone come here to
After a quick drive through the town of Murupara, we finally arrived at the Kohutapu Lodge and we made our way to the Hangi Pit to see the food being set in for cooking.
Oh, I can hear now. So John George has been heating up our volcanic rocks here for the last close to 45 minutes, close to an hour. He's going to put the top basket on perfectly that way. So we've got pork at the bottom, chicken in the middle, and up the top we have 3 vegetables. Simple sweet potato, we call it kumara, potato, and pumpkin. Okay, yes. If I gave you the rest of the ingredients, I'd have to kill you. So what the brothers are doing at the moment is literally putting over the first seal. So this first seal is literally just to capture and hold in that heat and keep the food nice and protected. Okay. Perfect. Awesome, brothers. Yep. Okay, what Kelly's going to do now is he's going to grab a bit of hot water, bit of cold water that's going to turn hot, and just tip it over the top of the sheet. Why he's doing this, it's to create it. There's the cooking process starting. Now they're going to lay the tops with different sacks. So these are like sugar bags. We call it hessian sacks. They're going to just, like an envelope type fashion, just cover the top of this. Can anyone guess what they're trying to do?
Keep the heat in?
That's it. Yeah. Definitely. Our mate from California here just had it right on the head, just to keep the heat in. So they'll work their way around, just trying to capture that heat, keep it nice and locked in.
One before, but they did it like
on top of the ground?
underground. Like,
completely underground?
Yeah.
So the Middle East do a lot of their cooking, even South America, barbacoa. Yeah. So as you can see, the boys are going to start first and foremost sealing the edges. The edges is the most important part before they cover the top of this. So yeah, it's pretty simple way of cooking, to be honest. Kia ora, e mihi ana kia koutou, kua tae mai tēnei waha, ko Waio, ko Taz Takiro. Currently I'm holding 2 mid-range hand-to-hand combat weapons, and I'll just briefly explain this weapon. This weapon here, known as taiaha. It's a pretty simple weapon, but very deadly in times of war or times of battle. It's made up pretty much with the anatomy of a human with a head and a body. In old times this was used in battle, but nowadays taiaha is used for cultural performances and a lot of ceremonies, especially welcoming dignitaries and people from around the world and other tribes into your community. Brief explanation about this specific weapon. The name of this weapon is tefa tefa. Although it looks like an axe, this was not the striking part of the weapon. It was actually this edge. The top for thrusting and pretty much this whole body for striking opponents. We do have a tip on this, we call the mata. This flat portion we call the rapa. This can double up as a short club weapon as well.
I try my hand at wielding the tefa tefa, but I don't think I'm Maori chief material. Here we are playing a game where Taz will call out left or right, and we have to leave the stick we are holding and move either left or right and grab the stick that a person to the left or right was holding. The aim is to grab the stick without letting it drop. It was a lot of fun and a good team building event.
Mau! Let's go Vancouver. Cool, we'll mix it up and try and go the opposite way. It does feel a little bit different, and I'll be surprised if we do it without dropping one. Mateo!
Hey!
Mateo! Mateo!
Don't catch mine, don't worry about it.
Yep, just let your one go straight up and down. Mateo!
Oi! We were doing so good, Charlotte.
We played some other games, and after a couple of hours of having fun, it was time to uncover the food as it had had enough time to cook over the heated lava rocks. Here, Kelly and George are carefully removing the gravel that was sealing the wet cloths placed over the food. They have to carefully remove the gravel so it doesn't get on the cooked food under the cloths. They store and reuse this gravel for the next time they cook in the Hangi Pit. After the food was removed from the Hangi Pit, it was served to us and it was cooked to perfection. The pork and the chicken were thoroughly cooked and moist. As I was busy eating, I didn't get a chance to video the actual dinner, but this is exactly what it looked like. Except there wasn't a cute girl serving us. We weren't sitting outside under the trees. There was no wine, and there weren't a bunch of old people. But other than that, it looked exactly like the stock footage.